Hi, friends. If you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. You may have noticed a time in your life when you feel some numbness settling in or an inability to feel anything at all. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about why that happens, what we can learn from it, and how to lean into our bodies and what our body is trying to say. My name is Raquel Perez. I also go by Raquel, and I am a licensed professional counselor candidate in the state of Colorado. All of the PDFs that I mentioned in the video will be linked in the description below, and they are free to download. So check that out if you are interested. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So the way that I like to think about my body is this very beautifully and well-organized system that is always trying to achieve safety, protection, and aid in my survival. The reason that I think it's very important to see our bodies in this way is because it begins to shift our mindset. It begins to shift our mindset from all of these things that are wrong with my body that I need to fix to a gentle curiosity about what is happening inside of my body, why it's happening inside of my body, and what I can learn from it, how I can heal it, how I can take that information and grow from it. And that's a pretty incredible shift if we think about it. So if I think about my body and all of the experiences that it has been through, all of the history that it houses, that's a lot of information. Because that history goes back to conception, and it comes through to the present moment. Now, not only is that a lot of information that is housed or stored inside of my body, much of that information can be painful, and much of that information can be very difficult to sit in. However, much of that information wants to be processed. My body needs to process it. So, how does my body reconcile these two conflicting and almost opposing ideas? The fact that my system is always trying to protect me, keep me safe, and aid in my survival, with the fact that there is information, there are experiences housed and stuck or stored in my body that need to be processed so that I can heal and grow from them. How does my system and my body reconcile these two opposing ideas or these two opposing things that are happening in conflict inside of my body? Does this by a bunch of different beautiful strategies, mechanisms, and skills. But today, we're going to talk about the disconnection that happens. So, again, there's information in my body that's painful, that's difficult. It needs to be processed. So it begins to bubble up to the surface. That experience is so incredibly painful that my cognitive or my thinking mind cannot sit there. So it very kindly, and for my protection, disconnects my cognitive mind from my body, because what's happening in my body is too much to sit in. It makes sense that if this happens in my body and I become disconnected, my cognitive mind becomes disconnected from my body, that it could register as numb, or it could register as an inability to feel anything at all. Because what's happening in the body is so painful, easier for my body to not feel anything at all than it is to sit in all of the pain that is happening inside of my body. That's a pretty incredible and beautiful protective strategy that my body has. So to further explain this idea, I think it's helpful to talk about this bullseye analogy. Talked about it a few weeks ago in a video, and I think that it's helpful to further understand this. So if we think about this bullseye, the inner portion is a blue portion, and that is where our bodies are pretty comfortable. We aren't really trying to process experiences. We aren't really trying to gain insight or self-awareness. It is very comfortable, cozy, if you will, space to be in. If we think about the outer next ring, it's the green ring. In this space, maybe our body is trying to process some experiences. Maybe we're trying to gain insight or self-awareness. Maybe we're trying to heal or grow from something. But in the green space, this process, it's not overly triggering. It's a space that is still tolerable. It's a space that our body can still handle the information that is bubbling to the surface. But if we think about the outer ring, which is the red ring, in this space, the information that is bubbling to the surface is so incredibly painful and difficult to sit in that our bodies cannot. And so alarm bells go off inside, and there is an automatic process that happens to pull my body back into a space that doesn't feel so overwhelming. And again, one very beautiful way that my body is going to do that is by kindly, for my protection, disconnect my thinking or my cognitive mind from my body and all of those very difficult sensations, emotions, and experiences that are coming up for it. And in that space, it will feel numb. And in that space, I will have an inability to be able to feel anything at all. So as I describe this process, it's important to note that as my body does start to feel numb and I am unable to process, I am unable to feel anything at all, this is a space that my body is occupying for my protection. And it is going to be impossible for me to try and dive into what is happening in my body and why it is happening in my body at that very moment. Some of the only things that I will be able to do is allow my body to experience what it is experiencing and use strategies that allow me to begin to calm myself. Now, I have a few videos that I've posted in the past that talk a little bit more about these calming strategies. But here, I just want to highlight that when my body is in those spaces, that's where it needs to be because it needs to find that protection. Now, there are going to be other times when my body is occupying more of a green space, more of a space where it is tolerable. Now, in these moments, we do have the ability to dig a little bit deeper, dive a little bit deeper, and lean into the information that's coming up in our bodies that is so incredibly painful and so incredibly difficult, but that does need to be processed. Because as that information bubbles up to the surface, we can gain healing. We can gain insight. We can gain self-awareness, and we can grow from it. But it can't be in the states where we're in the red. It has to be in the state where we're more in the green. I want to remind you that when we go through these processes, it isn't easy and very difficult, and it is always important to practice gentle and kind curiosity when it comes to our bodies, when it comes to the sensations that are happening in it, and when it comes to what information we can derive from it. Well, friends, thank you for taking time out of your incredibly busy day to watch this video. I so appreciate that. I hope that you have found this video to be useful and helpful. If you have, please hit the like button down below, the subscribe button. It helps the channel out a ton. And here are a few more videos that you might find interesting if you have found this one interesting. Well, that's all I have for this video. I hope to see you next time. And thanks for tuning in. Bye for now.